just follow those basic principles. Um, Herbalism seems like there's two camps. There's Christian herbalists, and then there's the New Age herbalists. And when I started telling people in my Christian community that I was into herbalism, they're like, oh, he's going over to the dark side there and stuff. And if you talk to a Christian herbalist, they're, like, if you're going to go harvest your herbs, go out into your garden, sit down in your garden, locate the grandmother plant. And once you talk to the grandmother plant, she'll tell you that it's okay to harvest her children. And you can take her children and harvest them and get all the goodness that Mother Earth has. I ain't going there. I ain't going there. So I know the best time to harvest my plant. I'm not going to look for no grandmother plant. I don't think they exist. And I'm not going to talk to my plants, although sometimes I do. I just say, hey, you're looking really good, but I don't expect an answer, and I don't think to hear it. The books I have there are some really good beginner's books. And I would think if you're going to buy one book to start with, I would start with Rosemary Gladstar's Beginner's Guide to Medicinal Herbs. She's a new agey, talk to your plant kind of person, but it doesn't show up in this book. Because I bought a second book from her, and I got rid of it because it goes that way. But this one, it tells you some good basic stuff, good basic things to do, how to get started, good practical information without all the new agey stuff. So that is a really good book. And then, if you're going to forage, which I like to forage, there's a lot of free stuff out there. There's regional books. And so there's this edible medicinal plants from the Midwest. What else? Midwest Medical Plants is a good one. Peterson's Field Guide to Medicinal Herbs. And that's the Eastern and Central thing, so get them in your thing. My wife knows that when it comes to books and plants, I'm a weak man. So if I go to the plant store, I'm going to buy plants. If she sends me to the plant store with $20, I'm going to spend $30. I put 10 on the card, 20 in cash. I read about different books all the time, and I buy quite a lot of books. But you don't have to. Those basics right there are really more than enough to keep anybody going. One thing to look for is if you happen to go to secondhand stores and stuff like that, always check out the book section. Because someday I'm going to die, and one of my kids is going to go, crazy old dad's got all them books, just take them down to Goodwill, and somebody's going to have a gold mine there.
Sorry, excuse me. I'm not sure if this is muted or not. We're not getting you.
I don't think it didn't sound like it's been on, but.
No.
But I can hear it.
Testing.
But you're doing fine without it.
This is more for recording. It's supposed to be going through a system so that it can be recorded. So that's why we're interrupting, sorry.
Okay. Oh, just a minute. There's a side button I turn on or what?
This is not what he usually does. The person who usually does it isn't here, sorry.
Oh,
So
okay.
Daniel's
I'm sorry.
improvising big time.
There we go.
Aha.
All right.
We're ready to go.
What?
Does it
look good?
We're live.
Let me see.
I can't tell. It's not showing up here, so. This is also usually in there, hooked up to everything, so just be patient with us as we're trying to do this.
Oh, come on.
Okay, you were in the used bookstore dying.
You already died. You died.
And I'm gonna be the first one to that story.
So
Give
always
them a
check.
couple weeks and then.
Yeah.
Always check use, if you go to those places, always check them out, because I have bought probably half a dozen books for like $1 a piece, of good books and stuff. Now, I've got some, these are like basic books that just about anybody can understand. I've also got some real technical books at home too, that are more like, kind of like a college level. They talk about different kinds of things and stuff, and those are handy. If you really want to dig into, if there's something you want to look at and you really want to study, those technical books will work, but they take a lot more work to do it too. So there's different ways to go. There's that Dr. Patrick Jones book over there. I don't know if you guys have ever followed Dr. Patrick Jones. He is, that one. He's a great guy. He's a vet. And he studies herbal medicine. And I have learned so much from him, and he has a lot of YouTube. He has a lot of YouTube videos and stuff too. So those are really good. Worth seeing. There's different research on the web. I like Dr. Axe. I check his stuff out a lot. I got these different ones listed. My Homestead Life Community, that's Kristen Smith. She's got a book up there too. Kristen is just one of the best people that I know. She's a master herbalist, an aromatherapist. That's her, and this is her right here.
Oh, Kristen, I thought it was Christian.
Yeah, Kristen. So there's Kristen Smith, that's her book here, and she's on the front of this Christian Herbalist magazine. She's one of the ones that started that herbal seminar in Ohio that I was telling you about. So if you go to A Better Way to Thrive, it shows on your thing, A Better Way to Thrive. She's got a website there. You can follow her. She'll recommend these different places and stuff. And her recipe for making herbal salves and oils is the best I've ever found. When I first started making herbal salves, I've got different ones there. I've got one that's called, the kids call it Papa Medicine. It's made out of plantain. And it was I would make it, I would dry the herb. When you're making a salve, you have to dry the herb. You don't want any moisture in it because the water and oil don't mix. And then you'll end up with a moldy, if you don't skim the water off all the time and stuff, you'll end up with a moldy salve. So you dry the herb, and what I used to do is I put the herb in the oil, and I would close it up, and I'd put it in a dark cabinet, and I'd shake it up once a day for a couple, 3 weeks or so. And then when it was done, I would strain it out, and I would make salve out of it. I have honeybees, so I'd use beeswax, and I'd make a salve out of it. Well, it worked good. It worked good for the kids. It was good for swimmer's itch, mosquito bites, bee stings, and all that kind of stuff. It was just kind of this pale green salve. Well, I found out her method of making salve is you dry the herb, like I said, put it in a blender, blend it up, so that you get a lot of contact between the herb and the oil. Put the herb in the oil, put a lid on it, put it in a crock pot, put about that much water in it, leave the top off the crock pot, and cook it in the crock pot on low for a couple of days. And what happens is that it went from this pale green salve to this dark green salve. The infused oil come out really, you got so much more goodness in the oil, and it was so much more powerful and stuff. So Kristen was the one that taught me that, and that's what I follow her, because she's got all these good things to do. I always she stole my line. When you're making a salve or a tincture, tinctures usually you let go for about 8 weeks. You do that method we're talking about. And when you're done, you bring out the pour it through I pour it through a piece of white cotton cloth in a strainer. So I pour it through there, and that's, when you get done, I take that cloth and I wring it out, and I'd always tell her, I wring it out like it owes me money. Because you want to get every drop that you can out of there. So I would wring it out really hard and get it all out. Some people have presses that they do it, but they cost like $300 or $400 a piece. And I don't know about you, but I just can't do that. But I did get a potato ricer. This potato ricer thing, I think it costs about $30, and you can take that cloth, you can stick it in that potato ricer, and you can squeeze it out, and you can really get all the goodness out of it. I like to grow my own herbs too. I forage for herbs, and I grow my own herbs. And sometimes I will grow an herb. I'm a gardener. I've been a gardener since I was like 5 years old. My dad gave me a couple tomato plants and let me grow them in the garden, and I was hooked. Ever since then, I've always had a garden. And so what I found for me is that sometimes there's some plants that grow wild, but people have those little plant ID apps on there, and they're pretty good. They're pretty good at identifying stuff. And if I really want to go through all the effort of looking up the botany books and seeing how the leaves overlap and what the stems are like and all that kind of stuff, I can identify a book that way. But I found that for me it's a lot easier just to buy seeds of whatever herbs. Like I've got this stuff called wild lettuce now. Wild lettuce grows out and it's a really good pain reliever. But I just bought some seeds from this man.
That's what I was just gonna ask you. Do you have any websites for purchasing?
I do, and I think I have them on here. Right, if you look to the growing herbs, and then you see seed sources underneath it, down here. Seed sources. Yep. So strictly medicinal seeds are really good. High Country Gardens is good. Big Creek is good, and High Morning Organic Seeds also are probably some of the biggest ones that I buy seeds from. And so once I grow a plant, it's mine. I grow a plant, I watch it grow the different stages and different kinds of things like that. I can walk through the woods and go, there's that one, because it's mine now, because I've grown it, I've seen it in all its different phases, and I can find it. So for me, it's just a personal thing. Even if I want to start foraging for different herbs, I'll grow it, and then I'll be able to find it a lot easier that way. So gardening's a good thing. I've got a sign in my garden. My grandkids are good at making signs and stuff, and I've got one that says pharmacy, Pharmacy, and so it's got pharmacy up there. And so I grow a lot of herbs. I grow a lot of different things that are growing there. Some herbs are like annual herbs. Like there's seeds over there. Toothache plant. It's a really good plant. I grow it in a hanging basket. It grows up, kind of hangs over. It'll get about that big around. It grows these little yellow flowers that are about as big around as my finger. It's just like these little bud kind of things. They're a flower, but they're not like a daisy or anything like that. They're just
like the middle of a daisy.
Huh?
Like the center of a daisy.
Like the center of a daisy. And I like to take people through the garden and stuff, and they go and I say, toothache plant, huh? I said, pick a flower off and stick it between your cheek and gum. So pick a flower off and stick it between the cheek and the gum, and the whole side of their face goes numb. Because toothache plant was made in it, and it tells you the Latin name for it too, on your sheet. Toothache plant was used for toothaches. It would help relieve the pain. It also is antibacterial and antimicrobial. And what I do is I make a tincture with toothache plant, with calendula, and with tulsi. I take those three and I mix them together. And then in the morning and in the evening, I've got this little glass, and I take about a quarter of a teaspoon of that mix that I was telling you, those 3 herbs, tincture, and about a tablespoon of water. I stick it in my mouth, and it makes its own water. You put it in your mouth, and you start salivating and stuff. And I just walk around with it in my mouth for about 2 or 3 minutes, just rinsing it out, and then spit it out. And you got this tickle in your mouth that you wouldn't believe. And my dental hygienist said that, you know, she said, I can't believe how well your gums are looking and stuff now. It stops bleeding gums, it stops inflammation. I used to get those white canker sores in my mouth. It used to just drive me crazy, and it was just like hardly any way to get rid of them. I've never had one since. And if I feel one coming on, I just take some of that stuff. I felt one coming on a couple days ago. I took that stuff, I put it in my mouth, and I just made sure that I pushed it up against there and stuff. It's gone. So that works really good. Tulsi is a great herb. That's something that you should all look at. And kind of anything I'm telling you, you should look at them and study them. Look at what they do, what the side effects are, and all that kind of stuff. But Tulsi is part of that thing. It's antimicrobial and all that kind of stuff. It's also a cancer fighter and a lot of different things. So it has a whole lot of other things. And it's one of my kind of daily type herbs that I take. Corn silk. People just won't believe this, but don't go to the market and buy corn and take your corn silk and make a tincture out of it, because it's been sprayed with all kinds of chemicals and stuff that you just don't want to ingest. But I grow corn at home, and I don't put nothing on it. And so when my corn is ready, I take the corn silk off of there, I make a tincture out of it, and that is some powerful stuff. Good for your heart, good for all different kinds of stuff. So that's a good one. You know, chamomile helps you sleep. Doc Joe's turned me on to cayenne pepper. I'm not a hot pepper guy kind of a thing. I'm really not into it, but I can put up with it. And in the evening, I tell Mary Lou, are you ready for your tincture tonight? And it took me a long time to get her to do it, because it don't taste the best in the world. I've been doing this herbal medicine thing for a long time. I don't care how bad it tastes. I'll put it in a glass, I'll drink it down, and I'll just deal with it, you know. Well, it took me a while to get her on board with it, but I got her come along slowly. So, but I've got her taking her tinctures. We take our tinctures at night, and often if I'm working on something really hard, I'll take a tincture at night and I'll take a tincture in the morning. I like to take my cayenne pepper in the morning or in the middle of the day, because then I can take it. If I take it before I go to bed, I don't want to get heartburn and stuff when I'm going. But cayenne pepper is really powerful for your heart, your cardiovascular system and stuff like that. It's a really good one. I also make a salve out of it. There's a thing over there. I use comfrey and cayenne pepper, and I infuse an oil with it, and it makes an herbal Bengay. If your knee hurts, or she's a knitter, and she'll have her little finger that's arthritic, and it takes some of that cayenne comfrey, she rubs it on there, and it goes right away. The cayenne puts heat in there. It not only has medicinal purposes, it's anti-inflammatory. Who would think that cayenne pepper is anti-inflammatory?
Now, I've heard this with cayenne, that it works as a catalyst because it inflames the blood for whatever you put that salve on, and so whatever you're mixing with gets that blood to the surface, and then it's able to do what the other herbs are there for. Is that true?
I think that's true, and you'll find that with a lot of different herbs too, that certain herbs work really good together. And that's going to be part of your quest to learn different things, is to find out which herbs work good together and which herbs don't work good together. Because there's some herbs that fight each other too, and harm what they
negate each
they
other.
give it away. So you want to do that. There's ashwagandha seeds over there. Ashwagandha is a really good herb. it grows like a shrub. And so it's got these little tiny seeds. It'll grow like, I grow it in a pot. It's tropical. And the reason I grow it in a pot is because as it grows throughout the summer, it comes up and it starts to mature. And it has these flowers on them, which are just these little green things. And then that flower will have like a pea-sized seed pod in it. It starts out green, and then when it turns red, the plant is mature and it's ready for you to harvest the roots. And you can pick the seeds off of it. I've always got a ton of ashwagandha seeds because I pick all the seeds off. I stick the seeds on a paper plate. I just set them out of the way. I let them dry out, and when they're paper dry, I just take them and I squish them like that. And there's all these little seeds and little pieces of the thing in there, and then I save them. But the thing is with it is it very seldom will be mature after it starts frosting. It's got short growing seasons and stuff. So I put it in a pot. So I watch the weather. She always picks on me. Gotta watch the Doppler. You know, you ever see that? Don't be your parents. Don't be your parents. I watch the Doppler because I want to get my plants. If it's gonna freeze tonight, I'm gonna take my ashwagandha plants and some other good herbs. I'm gonna put them in the house, and then I can put them back out for 3 or 4 more days before the next frost does, and then I can get that full cycle going. So I can harvest them. So ashwagandha is a good one. So those are like annual herbs. I love growing perennial herbs too. Perennial herbs take a lot of the work out of stuff. So all you gotta kind of do is weed them, and they're hardy and stuff. Comfrey is a great herb. I wouldn't be without it. It has so many good uses. It's good for, they used to call it bone knit. If people had broken bones and stuff like that, they would put comfrey poultices on it, and it's been proven medically to help them heal faster. It's good for muscle strains and different kinds of things, so I've always got comfrey salve around. I grow the Russian Bachman 14, and the reason I've got that put down in there is if you grow comfrey from seed, it's invasive. So if you grow comfrey from seed and it grows up there, you can stop it from being invasive by cutting the flowers off of it, and then it won't go to seed, and you can keep it in place. But if you let it grow to seed, it's going to keep on going and going. And I'll tell you, I gave a friend of mine a comfrey plant, and he took it, and it was in a pot. I dug it up from the root, took it, put it, and he put it in his garden. He set it over here, and he kind of forgot about it. Well, I said, how's that comfrey plant doing, you know, in the fall? And he goes, oh, he says, I forgot, I gotta go plant it. So he goes to plant it, and he goes to pick it up, and it grew right straight down through the bottom of the plant, down into the ground, and so he cut it off, he takes it over, moves it. Once you have comfrey, it ain't going nowhere. Unless you wanna, I shudder at the thought, use Roundup or something nasty on it. I don't use none of that stuff, you know. So he's got a comfrey plant there, he's got a comfrey plant where, so if you're gonna plant a comfrey plant, be sure that's where you want it, because it ain't going nowhere. I dig up, about every other year, I will dig up a comfrey plant and give it to somebody and throw some dirt back over it, and it'll come right back up in that same spot. So it's a good plant. The good thing about comfrey, one of the reasons why it's so healthy, is it has this taproot way down in there. And it pulls up all these minerals and all this stuff from the soil way down deep, and it brings them up. And Craig Schaff, who was here, the gardening guy, he has a patch of comfrey that's 6 by 6 in the middle of his garden. He goes in there, and 3 times a year he cuts it all down, because comfrey sends these roots out. He's got a 6 by 6 chunk of comfrey here, and it sends all these roots out in the area that's about as big as this room. Okay, he cuts it off, and then all those roots out that way die. And when they die, they've got all these minerals and stuff that they've pulled up from the ground, and they're releasing it into his garden. Now the tap roots are still there. They're gonna come back up, and they're gonna come back up, and they're gonna send roots back out again. But he uses it to help his garden grow with all these good herbs and stuff. You can also take comfrey and cut it off, put it in like a 5-gallon bucket of water, put a rock on it, and put it somewhere where it can smell bad all by itself. And then you strain that out after a while. You can take a cup of that juice and put it in a gallon of water, and you've just made yourself some, what do you call that, blue
Compost
fertilizer stuff?
Yeah.
Miracle Grow.
Miracle Grow, yeah.
Organic Miracle Grow. You can take that, you can water your plants with it, and it just gives them an incredible boost. If you have chickens tear comfrey up. They love comfrey. It's high protein. It's somewhere like right around 20% protein.
Oh, wow.
So it's a good plant for protein. I feed it to my rabbits. I feed it to my chickens. So it's a good one. So you can see the different ones. There's plantain in there, and that's not the banana. I dug one up out of my yard. So I just wanted to show it to you. You've all probably got this growing in your yard.
Everybody thinks it's a weed.
Yeah, I think I recognize it.
It grows like in a rosette, and it'll have a seed stalk. It'll come out of the middle and it'll come up and it'll have seeds on it. And so plantain is what I make the copper medicine out of. I also make tinctures out of it. So that's plantain.
You see those a lot on the side of the,
See it?
expressway or
Yeah,
whatever?
you see this you see it on the side of the road all over the place. It doesn't get much, this is, there's like, I don't know, probably a dozen different varieties. Some of it's skinny. It all has this, when you pick it, see the little fibers that go through it? It has all these little fibers. They're almost like rubber bands. See those? The little fibers? That's one of the ways that you can tell is you see those fibers in it. But it's a pretty easy plant to identify. So comfrey is a good plant, and what I ended up doing is I took
That's plantain.
I take my walks, and I wanted comfrey in my yard. I don't like harvesting herbs alongside the road. They're picking up exhaust and all that kind of stuff, and you just don't know what they've been sprayed by or whatever, salts and stuff from the road commission and different kinds of things. So I don't like to take my plants by the side of the road. So I would go and I'd find wild comfrey plants, the seeds, when the seeds are ready. And I would just pick them, I'd just take my hand and you could just kind of pull them up and get seeds. And I would put them in an envelope on my walks. So I'd take these seeds. And then I went home and I just threw them in an area. I've got an area about as big as those 2 tables where I'm throwing comfrey seeds. I got all this comfrey coming up now. And so I don't mow it, I just let it grow. And I can pick all the comfrey I want and different kinds of things. So comfrey is a good one to bring in there. There's campaign seeds over there, and that's a biannual, and it's kind of a funny plant. It grows up, and it'll grow tall, and it has these almost like flowers that look a lot like dandelions on it. And it's a biannual. And you can save the seeds from it, and every 2 years you harvest the root, and it's antibacterial. It's a good, really good herb. So there's some things that just grow easy. I try to do things that grow easy. One of the things you've got to watch for about perennial plants is sometimes they can be invasive. So. I always say that mint and oregano someday is going to have a fight to take over the world, because if you don't keep them contained, they're just going to go all over the place. And a lot of my invasive type herbs, my mints and stuff like that, I grow in a pot. And then, so you could do 2 things. I grow them in a pot, and then just before winter, I'll dig a hole, I'll stick the pot in the ground, and then I'll wait till spring, and then I'll pull the pot back out. And
So So you
put
leave
back
it in the
out.
pot and put the pot in the hole in the ground?
Put the pot in the hole in the ground, cause
Oh.
then it's just like they're planted in the ground.
Okay.
They don't get winter killed that way, stuff like that. Or I take the herb, I cut it off, and I put it in my garage, and my garage stays up in the high 30s. It doesn't really freeze in there, so I'll leave it in my garage, but the thing is if I put it in my garage, I have to water it about once a month. Because if you just leave it in your garage and you just let it dry out in there, it's gonna die, or it's gonna be sick. So you just gotta remember to water the ones that you put in the garage about once a month or so, and then take them back out in the spring. Different kinds of shrubs grow, the different ones. Elderberry is a great one to grow. Probably all of you guys, when you're sick or something like that, if you're looking for an herbal way to feel better, make elderberry syrup. I just make
birds like-
elderberry tincture.
The birds
Yes.
like elderberry too.
Yeah.
The birds.
Yes.
I have several elderberry plants and the birds will eat them too.
Yeah, so the way to beat that is to put a net over it. That's the only way to beat it, really. So birds are, birds know what's good for them too.
Right.
So, and there's other things you can do too, but you can harvest the flowers if you want to. And you can make tinctures out of the flowers, and they still have the same qualities as what the elderberries do.
Okay.
So, I tend to make tinctures when I make things, because tinctures last just about forever. Syrups and stuff like that will last about a year, different kinds of things, but tinctures will last a long time if you store them properly. Rugosa roses are another one that, the rose hips are really good for you. And so I ordered these Rugosa roses, and they're, I don't know if you've ever been to Maine, they have these big wild roses, bushes there. They're this big around and they're this tall.
Wow.
And they have these 5-petaled plain flower roses on them. You get downwind and they just smell like heaven. And the honeybees get on them and they just go bzzz, I mean, they just go crazy because they smell so good. But they have rose hips on them. They're really high in vitamin C. They have a whole lot of other vitamins and stuff like that in them. So I grow Rugosa roses for the rose hips and stuff. They have a whole lot of thorns on them too, and so the deer won't eat them. So it's nice if you're bothered with deer. Hawthorn is a great one. That hawthorn's just thorn apple. Thorn apples, it's really good for your heart. Weeping willow. Aspirin was made from willow trees.
Is it the bark?
The bark.
Okay.
What I do is, with all herbs, how you harvest and when you harvest is really important. So I use weeping willow, and the best time to get it is in the spring when it's just starting to bud out, because the tree is sending all of the goodness of the tree out into these branches and getting ready. So I'll go out when they're just starting to bud, I'll cut the branches off, and then I'll take the branches and I'll take my knife and I'll just skim the bark off of them. So I'll take the bark off of a willow tree and I'll make a tincture out of it like that. So you do it, but timing is everything. With all these different things, study the herb, timing is everything. Staghorn sumac, the little, you know, those little red pods or whatever that grow on the staghorn sumac. That's really good stuff too. It has all kinds of different kinds of vitamins in it. And I raise honeybees, and I always pick a bunch of those pods off of there too, and I let them dry out, and I use them in my bee smoker because it calms the honeybees down, and it has a certain kind of a chemical in, a natural chemical in it that kills varroa mites, which are really bad on bees. So when I smoke my bees, I'm calming them down so I can harvest the honey or inspect the hive or whatever, but I'm also putting stuff in there that's going to take care of those varroa mites too. So Staghorn sumac is a real good one. Echinacea, purple coneflower, is a really good one. And black-eyed Susan is a relative of Echinacea. And it's really good for colds and flus and stuff like that too, but it's a little bit different. So a lot of times when I'm fighting something, I've probably said it before, but taking herbs isn't like taking a pill. When you're fighting some kind of an infection or something, you want to gang up on it. And so if I've got this cold coming on, I might take a little bit of elderberry to help me with it. I might take a little bit of echinacea. So my first tincture, if I'm fighting this cold, the first thing in the morning, that's a lot better. The sun came out. So if I'm fighting a cold, in the morning, I might take elderberry and echinacea tinctures in the morning. In the afternoon, I might take elderberry and mullein to help combat that congestion and stuff. In the evening, I might take elderberry and black-eyed Susan. And what I'm doing is you're ganging up on it. You're fighting it from all these different angles. They've got a little bit different chemical properties. They attack it a little different way, and they're going to knock that cold out quicker that way. So another thing is like, I'm 69 years old. I don't take any prescription drugs. I don't take any. My blood sugar's in normal ranges. My cholesterol's in normal ranges. My blood sugars, I'm fighting, or my blood pressure, I'm fighting with it right now. It's recently spiked up a little bit. I've had a few stressors in my life that have kicked it up, but I'm fighting it. But I don't take any kind of medicines at all. I used to have prostate problems, so I take some other stuff, and the prostate problems have gone away. You can fight all of this stuff generally if you use these medicines. But the thing is that herbal medicine's not like taking a pill. You take a pill, it makes your blood pressure go down, and then you have diabetes and all these different things that they tell you about, all these sudden heart attacks, sudden death, all the things they tell you at the end of the commercial that you gotta watch for when you're so if I'm fighting high blood pressure, I might take corn silk and cinnamon for 6 weeks. Okay, and then I'll stop taking corn silk and cinnamon, and I'll start taking hawthorn for another 6 weeks. And you're attacking whatever it is that's getting after you. You're attacking it from different areas. Your body's not getting used to, okay, we're used to having this stuff all the time, and it's not fighting as hard as it can. So I always look up different things that I want to do, different medicines that take care of it. That's why my apothecary is so big. I don't take the same stuff day after day, month after month, year after year. I don't do it. I rotate them through. About every 6, 8 weeks, I go to a different one. I'm fighting the same conditions, but I'm attacking it in a different way. So I kind of keep little charts of the different medicines, the different herbs that I have, what they do, and those different kinds of things. And so I try to keep up on those charts of what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm a mint junkie. I have a lot of different kinds of mint. I have a lot of different kinds of mint. I don't know how many I have, but I think if you know how many kinds of mint you have, you don't have enough. So I really enjoy it, and mint has a lot of good medicinal properties and stuff, but it just tastes good to me. Like there's an apple mint start over there that we're gonna have a little lottery or something afterwards, and we'll give that to somebody who wants the apple mint. But to me, apple mint tea, apple mint sun tea, it's just like the best thing in the world. Just cut the apple mint off, put it in some hot water, stick it in the sun, let it brew for a day or so. It's just really refreshing, and it's good for you. and it doesn't need any sugar, and it just gives you some good vitamins, so I really like that. Hops is an invasive, and we just think of hops, you just think of beer. I've got a hops plant at home that requires diligence to keep it contained where it's gotta be. I've got a post that goes up and hops climb up and stuff like that. Hops has some really good medicinal properties, plus it helps you sleep. And so it's one of my, it's one of those things, it's good for anxiety and stress, and it helps you sleep. So I make tinctures out of hops, so for maybe 6 weeks, I'll take hops at night to make sure I get a good night's sleep. And then, after that, I may take, after that 6 weeks is over, I may take ashwagandha for 6 weeks to help me sleep, get a good night's sleep. That's another thing that's really important to your health is a good night's sleep. Getting a good rest and all that kind of stuff is really important. So there's different kinds of things right there. Stinging nettles, you know. Taylor hates them. I keep them in a pot, I keep them in a pot. I bumped into those stupid stinging nettles again today, you know. Stinging nettles are powerful medicine. And so, when I cut them, I wear gloves, I cut them. I keep a sliding glass door screen. It's a screen, big screen for a sliding glass door, keep it in my garage. And so I cut them, I put them on that screen, and once they dry out, they don't sting me anymore. So if I'm gonna make a tincture out of them, I'll put them on the screen and I'll wilt them overnight. And then what wilting does is it takes a lot of the moisture out of it, but they still have their sting. So if I'm going to make a tincture out of stinging nettles or most any other herb, I'm going to put it on that screen. I'm going to let it wilt overnight. I'm going to put them in a jar. I'm going to chop them up. I'm going to put vodka in it, and then I'm going to make the tincture. When in the fall, late summer, fall, I'm making a bunch of tinctures. We go through a lot of vodka because each one of those quart jars is basically vodka with the herb, whatever herbs in it. One time we're in the store, I'm an elder in my church. We're in the store, Tom, we're in there, and Mary, I'm from here to over there, from Mary Lou, picks up 2 bottles of vodka and she says, "Do you need vodka?" And the whole store stops and looks at me. And I'm like, Walmart. I felt like the worst drunk in the hall. "Do you need vodka?" I did need vodka, but I didn't want everybody to know. So when you're making tinctures,
Just buy the vodka, don't tell them. Don't get that.
Is there a particular brand that's better?
I like to buy the vodka from Sam's Club
Okay.
or Costco. It comes in a glass bottle. And I'm not that thrilled with plastics. I'm just not that thrilled with plastics. And the Sam's Club vodka comes in a glass bottle. It's 85 proof. And the good thing about 85 proof vodka is it's half water. It's half water and it's half alcohol. Never use rubbing alcohol, only food grade alcohol, but it's half water and it's half alcohol. So when I've got an herb in there that I'm taking the medicinal properties out of, some parts of the herb just come out with water. Other parts of the herb come out because of the vodka. If I use 85 proof vodka, I've got them both in there, so they both work good to take what's out of there. So I really like the Sam's Club vodka. Costco's the same thing, comes in the glass bottles, 85 proof. But you can use really pretty much any kind of cheap vodka, as long as it's like 80, 85 proof, and it'll work good. So that's all part of making them. in the foraging herbs, you see the different herbs that, a lot of the stuff that I take out, pine needles. You know, who knew that pine needles were so good for you? Take pine needles and make sure it's pine needles, not spruce needles, not hawthorn needles. So I use red pine or white pine.
Red pine?
Red pine or white pine is what I use. High in vitamin C. If you feel that cold coming on, I was a backpacker, and a lot of times when I was backpacking, I would tuck pine needles off, and when I got to my camp, I would make a pot of pine needle tea. And it always made me feel good out, and it's got a good flavor to it. So I would make pine needle tea. I didn't know that I was doing good herbal medicine at the time while I was doing it. So
Do they have to be on the ground, or can you take them
I
right
just
off?
take
the
them right
tree?
off the tree.
Okay.
I just
Fresh
pick them right
ones.
off the
Yeah,
tree,
yeah,
put them in there.
Cook.
And so,
Is there a certain time that's better to pick those needles? Cause they're always green.
yeah, I think they're pretty much good almost all the time.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they're good all the time, so I pick them all the time, and I use them fresh. I don't dry them out or anything like that, I just put them in, I use them fresh, and use them. I also make tinctures out of them too, so when I make a pine tree tincture, sometimes you just want medicine, you don't wanna mess around making tea. I just take them and I chop them up with scissors, put the vodka over them, and making a tincture, with vodka, I fill the jar probably about 3/4 of the way full of the herb, not packed down, just kinda chopped up and, kinda loose. And then I'll fill the jar up with vodka, and then put a top on it, shake it up, put it in a cupboard. And try to shake it up at least 2 or 3 times a week. Every day is better. I put them in certain spots where I can see them and I can shake them up. It's good to keep them dark. Light and heat are the enemies of your herbal medicine. They're the enemies. And so, you saw the picture of my apothecary. I keep my stuff in amber jars. Blue jars don't block light. Red jars don't block light. Amber jars block about 95% of the light. So, you can go online and you can buy these quart jars. They're about $3 a piece. There might be more now. I got a bunch of them. But you can also, I've got a friend that gets 4 of these bottles of beer for his birthday every year. And he drinks 1 a month. And he gives me the bottles. And so I say, all my friends that know me know to save amber glass for me. I got, person that gets prescriptions out of these bottles. And they're like a vitamin kind of a thing. She gives me all of her amber glass from her vitamin bottles. I was at the Goodwill, and Mary Lou was at Goodwill. She called me up, she says, "Do you want these bottles?" She sent me a picture of them. There's like a dozen of them. They're like $1 a piece. Take them all.
Yep.
So, I've got a whole bunch of little different bottles. I got bottles like this that I've bought. There's some with eyedroppers in them, which are handy for dispensing medicines. I found the best way to start with a herbal medicine is about 1/4 of a teaspoon. Try to pour 1/4 of a teaspoon is hard to do. Just different kinds of things. These baby droppers, this has little, it goes from 1/4 of a teaspoon all the way up to a teaspoon, and it even has milliliters if you're inclined to go that way. But I can just go with 1/4 teaspoon. You can just squeeze it in there, draw it up. I got 1/4 teaspoon. I drip it in my water, and I just turn the water on, and I rinse it out, and I pour it back into the thing. These things are gold. They're just, they're for giving babies medicine. You take babies' cough medicine, you get it in it, and squirt it in their mouth or whatever. But these things are really handy, really good. And they're good for getting an accurate measurement too. So, so I really like these. Tins are good too. This is, this has comfrey cayenne salve in it. And as you can see, there's no light gonna get through that or anything like that. I give away, I always tell people, I'm like the drug man. I give you this the first time, and after that, I'm gonna take your lunch money. When you want it the second time. So, but I give a lot of people in our church medicine often, and I got these little disposable condiment cups and stuff like that. I can fill it. I can give it away. This is comfrey cayenne. Always write down on it what it is. If you want to lie to yourself and say, I'll remember, go ahead and do it, but I won't remember. So I always write down what it is, and I write the date on it, so that I know when I did it, and so I know when it's probably, I want to get the oldest stuff out first, and use it first, and all that kind of stuff. So always put the date on them. As far as markers go too, I always lie to myself when I say I remember what that plant is. I started making these metal plant markers. And this one says lemon thyme on it. They got little things in them. I can wire them up. I can put them on a little post next to whatever it is. If I want to go, I've got, spoons are cheap. You go to a second-hand store, 10 cents a piece. You know, I just take my hammer. You can take a sledgehammer, put the spoon on it, take another, like a 5-pound hammer, flatten them puppies out, use the sledgehammer as your anvil. I got letter stamps there, and I just put them on it, and I can stick it in the pot, and I can remember what it is. I still take, anytime I see somebody throw Venetian blinds away, I always snatch them up alongside the road, because I cut them up and I make plant markers out of them. They're good for about 3 months with a Sharpie, but then they're gonna fade and then they're toast. If you want to remember what a plant is and stuff like that, like when I tell you I put some of those pots in the garage and stuff, and Sharpie's gonna wear out, I put one of these in it, and then it's gonna tell me what it is. And this one doesn't have it, but Mary Lou came up with a great idea. She took fingernail polish, and she painted it with fingernail polish. She let it dry, and she took polish remover, just went like that, and then it'd be red or blue or whatever you could inside the letters, so it makes it easier to read.
What a good idea.
And so these are letter stamps and stuff like that, and they're about $30 for a set of them. And they come in different sizes. I've got a couple, 3 different sizes, just because that's what I do.
You're not sharing.
I've got a question about the bottles, the colors. I've got, greens. Is that green bottles like that, with the cap?
They're not gonna do anything more than clear bottles. The only thing that box light is amber.
Amber, okay.
Can you paint them brown?
Huh? I know some people who have taken regular jars and they just wrap paper around it and tape it on it. That blocks out a lot of the light. So somebody, and you could take them out and spray paint them if you wanted to. So there's other different things that you can do. For our evening tinctures, I probably use this jar the most. So I can just take the top. What I do is I go to set up the tinctures, and I'll go to the table, and I'll put Mary Lou's glass over here, and I'll put my glass over here, and I'll take the tinctures, and I'll put one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, and then I know that these go into hers, and these go into mine, and so they go into the plate. And I can just take the tops off of them, and I can just take that little squeezer thing, and I can just squeeze and put them all in. The only thing I don't like about these jars is the lids fit okay, but they're not as good as what I'd like them to be. But they still work good, and that's probably what I use the most of.
No, I've done my tinctures with vodka, also with vinegar.
What's that?
Tinctures.
Yes.
I've done the vodka,
Uh-huh,
and they also take vinegar. Now, I've done the vinegar too.
yeah.
It's just a lot stronger
Right.
to me.
And the vinegar only lasts about 3 years.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
A vodka tincture kept in amber glass, and you saw the picture of my apothecary. It's in the basement. It's cool, it's dry, it's dark. Can last up to 20 years.
Okay.
So everything, all my research is done, it will last from 10 to 20 years. And so I try not to do things over as much as possible. So I keep a list, there's a list of my 2024 apothecary things there. I used to just have all these jars, and I'd look for something and I'd look around. And finally I took them all down and I put them up alphabetically. And then I've got an alphabetical list, so when I'm looking for something, it was kind of a pain in the butt to do it the first time, but it made things a whole lot easier for my life after that. And so that's the way I work it. Also, what was I gonna say? Oh well, it's gone.
I know of a store down in Edmore that sells little amber jars, like they have all different sizes, but they have like little ones, the dropper ones. It's called Rogers Natural Foods, and it's in Edmore. Edmore, Michigan. It's off of 46.
Oh, cool.
But they, if somebody wants, like, to, have some jars, they have like a huge selection. And natural foods and supplements and herbs and
That's cool.
stuff like that too. So
Yeah.
they've got all sorts of useful things.
Those prices are like gold to me, and yeah, they're good. What I recommend, if you're just starting out with herbs, pick a couple of things that you're trying to fight, and 5 herbs a year. Start with 5 herbs. Get to know those herbs. If blood pressure is your thing, you're trying to get blood pressure. Try to find 3 herbs that fight blood pressure, or 2 herbs that fight blood pressure. If you have arthritis, find a couple of herbs that are good for arthritis. 5 herbs. And the next year, you've got those 5 herbs, learn 5 more. But what you want to do is you want to learn everything about that herb that you can. You want to learn what it's good for. You want to know what it's bad for. You want to know what it interacts well with. Like he was talking about different herbs that make herbs do better, and what doesn't act well. So I've been at this about 10 years. I've read around 50 herbs that I've got going right now. That I grow, that I forage, some herbs I can't get anywhere. I can't grow them, I can't forage them, so I buy them. And so I don't like to do that very often, but I do.
Like as a plant, or you buy it like in a supplement powder?
I generally buy them for like from Rose Mountain Herbs. I'll buy, it depends on the herb. Like calendula, the only part of the plant that's medicinal is the flower. So you might buy calendula flowers from Rose Mountain Herbs or something like that. If it's a different plant, you might just buy it all chopped up like a tea kind of a thing that you can make a tincture out of. So every now and then I buy an herb, but I really try really hard to grow or forage just about everything that I do. But I still, there's some herbs that are so good, I want them, I'm gonna buy them, I'm gonna pay for it, so those kind of things. Let's take a break.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
So, what would you say, based on your herbs, and I'm asking for my 89-year-old mother, okay? She has had some serious breaks in her legs, and it has obviously affected her mobility. She has to use a walker with her, and she has persevered, and I am so proud of her, as far as walking, even when she's feeling the pain through her legs. What salve or what product have you created that you feel would be the most helpful in a situation like that?
That cooker salve would probably.
So do you have the recipe on how to make that?
I do, this one's very, much more next time. I taught you how I make the infused oils. So, just take a break and I'll talk about it when we're done.
Okay.
Go ahead and, go to the bathroom, get a drink, or whatever, and then we'll talk some more.
I was doing my art and this thing.
That'd be a good idea.
He said, "Penny, my hands."